What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Dusty, the Airstream Trailer Renovation Restoration. In this episode, we're going to be talking about hooking up all of the electrical interior now that we've gotten everything ran in. First things first, obviously we have the main plug-in 50 amp source, which will go directly to your camp plug-in. This is for specific 7-wire. We'll hook up the junction box at the end of this. These two wires will then go from the junction box back to the brakes. That junction box for the 7-pin has already been ran through the frame, and I'll show you that towards the end of this, but it runs all the way out to here. It's already ran, ready to go, as well as the breakaway switch ready to be hooked up. From there, once we get all those hooked up, we do need to remove this cable, obviously, for the solar, and of course run all of the 12-volt wiring and the 110 wiring for all of the external lights, the actual brake lights, running lights here in the corner. Obviously get ready for the radio, TV antenna, and of course the AC unit. Obviously with the storm that we just recently had, we were able to come in here and hang out and check it all out for a while. No leaks, that's a good sign.
All right, so the only leak that I found was I did not have a clamp up here, and there was just a slight bit of water, which you can kind of see coming up through here. Though this isn't installed all the way, that's the only leak, which for me, that's really good news, because once that's seated properly, that means that there's no leaks in here internally that I can find right now. I'm going to continue looking, but from all I can see is that is the only one. We've cleaned up here where I did a Sikaflex. I did that on all of them, all the way up to here. No leaks as well up there. So everything's looking good. Pretty excited.
Leaks moving forward. So with that, stay tuned. Here we go. We're going to switch over, get this work started. All right, now that we've got all of the wires kind of cleaned up and situated, ready to be connected. First things first is I kind of speak highly of myself when I come to electrical work, especially when it comes to wire management. And so the idea behind this is once this is all installed with insulation and everything and the walls are installed, these cables will then come out and run through this flexible conduit somewhere to this junction box, which all of this will be connected underneath the base, which is where this bed's going to be, right where we're sitting right now. The end of each one of these wires, we will then terminate it with one of these ring terminals, and then we will then bolt those into the junction box itself. So with that, we'll go ahead and start getting these wires in the flexible conduit all trimmed up to nice and even, ready to run to the actual spot that we're going to install this junction box. So here we go. All right, now that we got the flexible conduit all ran with all the wires, we went ahead and terminated them with the ring terminals. We also used some shrink wrap to make it all nice and clean, so that when we terminate it inside the actual junction box, everything is nice, clean, good wire management. Now what we need to do, come over here. We're going to go ahead and strip this down, do the exact same thing so that we have it for the other side, so that we have an incoming and an outgoing. All right, now that I've got the cable that goes out to the 7-pin plug for the vehicle, I've also got the breakaway switch wired up as well, which means the junction box is ready. So here is our electric hitch, the plug for the 7-pin, or breakaway switch. That's all wired through this conduit that goes through this piece of the frame all the way through here. It then comes back through this other side of the frame. It goes up internally inside the trailer and then over to the junction box where that will be connected at. Now, connecting these wires, I just used the wire clips. Obviously, if I had 3 needing in there, as it jumps over, you can see the green wire would jump in here. The middle one I would use for the actual marker light. The other one would be this wire that jumps over to the next marker light. As you can see here in the middle, that one connects for the marker light. Then this one would be the next jumper all the way over to the next marker light, which is behind there now. Obviously, connecting the wires for all of the rear lights and brake lights, marker lights, same thing. You can use the same clips. If you have issues getting some of the stranded wires in there, you can also use wire nuts and then use electrical tape to tape it all up and hold it all together. And then of course all of my wires came from underneath, went in here, all of them are wired accordingly. And then of course we did a check, hooked up a vehicle to the trailer. All of the blinker lights, backup lights, marker lights, all work, running perfectly. All right, now that we got everything terminated, everything wired appropriately, we are definitely going to hold off on the final completion of that. Reason being is we want to get all the insulation installed, all of the final interior panels installed, so that we give it that nice clean run and look before the final connection of that junction box. Which means we're going to go ahead and wrap this video up, call it officially complete, and head over to the next one. If you haven't already, go like this video, subscribe to this channel, share with your family and friends, and as always, until next time, this is Danny, signing out.